Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Yes, so in this week's video we're going to be talking around lithium batteries. We've teamed up with EcoTree batteries and we've made the switch over, and in this video I'm going to talk about sort of the benefits of doing so. Now this won't be for everybody in terms of making that switch, but again I wanted just to go over the rationale around why we've decided to go down that route, and hopefully this will give you some more information if you're considering doing the same in the near future. So making this switch isn't going to be for everybody, but the rationale for us, again, we were looking to sort of have more options going forward in terms of off-grid. Now the batteries themselves have come down in price, so say for 150 amp hours you're looking just shy of £500 as we're sort of making this video. The equivalent in lead acid you're probably looking at 180, maybe 200 for a decent quality one. So again, by going off grid you're probably saving anything from 60 to £100 depending on really the length of time that you're going, but if you're doing that a number of times over the year you're going to claw that investment back. So again, there's lots of things to think about on that front. Obviously the actual weight of the battery, again if we're still looking at 150 amp hours, you're looking at sort of 15 kg for lithium and 26 give or take in lead acid. So again there's a saving in weight there, and again for us that's an extra few bottles of wine or some beers, depending on what you're looking to actually bring with you. So again it's always crucial and critical to know what your numbers are. So again every little helps on that front. So when it comes to choosing the right lithium battery, you've got a few options out there, but we've been lucky enough to team up with EcoTree Lithium, who've been kind enough to sponsor this video. Now what I'll do is I'll drop the spec up here now, just so again you can see exactly the model that we went for and the features with the battery. But it certainly ticks all the boxes that we were looking for in terms of amp hours, being light enough, and obviously crucial, being able to fit within the battery compartment of the Caravan. And that's one of the key things that you'll need to do, is obviously go and measure up exactly what room you've got to play with in terms of that battery size. Now I'll drop the link below in terms of the website for EcoTree Lithium, and again they do a range of lithium batteries, so again you can see what's suitable for the size van that you have. So when you make the switch, you're going to need to think about your sort of config within the actual Caravan itself. Now for us, obviously, we would be looking to change the solar controller and upgrade that, just so it's MPPT, and you get the benefits that come with that controller over your standard basic controllers that you can get. Now don't get me wrong, the current setup you would have seen in previous video, we have a standard controller installed, and that's been perfect for our lead acid battery over the last sort of year and a half. But obviously to get the efficiency when it's working with lithium, again an MPPT controller would be the way to go, and the sort of savings in terms of efficiency would be about 30%. Now the choices that you go for in terms of the hardware that you use is going to be down to sort of personal preference and research that you do. Again, this is what we've gone for. I'm not saying this is what you should do, but again, for what I've read, who I've spoken to, I think that's the right setup for us. And I'm going to continue to use the Sargent PX300, which is a standard sort of unit in most Caravans, I believe. And that has an output of 14.5 volts, so again it's going to be enough to be able to charge our lithium battery in a safe way. So again, I'm happy for that to stay as it is. So the only one part I need to change is the actual solar controller to an MPPT, just so I can get that sort of 30% saving in efficiency when it's doing the conversion from the solar panel to the battery. So what I'll do now is I'll show you the switching over of the different components. Obviously the install of the battery, the MPPT controller, and obviously the charger itself will remain as is, because it's, in my eyes, supported for what I need. And yeah, we'll just show you exactly what you need to do to be able to switch these components over, and the apps that you'll need now to be able to monitor that and get greater detail of exactly what your setup is doing. Rightio, so here's the battery. The default connection is sort of the ring terminals, so obviously you get those and then put them in,
and connect up, and normally you'd see them probably on motorhomes, but obviously because the technology and how far they've moved on, obviously we're seeing these actually get put into caravans now. So what I have had to purchase is just the usual sort of round terminals that you'd get on a conventional lead acid battery, and again, these were just off Amazon, and I'm guessing in the future these batteries might actually get shipped with these by default, but again, you get the option to still have the same connection as what they come with in terms of being able to screw in the top of that, but also the default sort of connection that you'd get on a car, that kind of thing. And it's just a case of obviously getting these, screwing them in, and just tighten them up. But again, as always, don't go mad when you tighten these up. You're not trying to split the plastic in any way, but obviously, yeah, you do want to pinch them up so they're not loose. And like I say, in this box connection I've got, you still get the option, if you want to be able to put something in there as well. But I don't think I'll be needing that, because on the battery connections that I've got that will go onto here, I've got another option for that kind of connection. So yeah, I'll just pinch these up and then we'll get this out and start getting ready for the install. So what I have noticed actually, by having the battery box in, is a snug fit, but actually when you close the door up, I found that actually it didn't close. It would close, but at a real bit of pressure, or pressure that I wasn't comfortable with, that actually this would be a seal at the end of it. So I've actually taken it out of the battery box, which is giving it a little bit more room at the very top. Still in place with this. What I might do is just get something thin, just so again it's got something else for it to sit on. But yeah, with that in place, the door actually shuts how I'd want it to. So yeah, I have taken the battery box out for the time being. More than likely that won't go back in, just so again I can make full advantage of this bigger battery. So in regards to the old solder controller, I'm going to start with that by taking that out. I'll disconnect these, make them safe whilst I switch this out. And I must say, in terms of a cheap controller, I think this cost me like £15–20 like 2 years ago, and it's been rock solid. I've never had any issues with this whatsoever. Rightio, so just be mindful as well when you're screwing into any of the Caravan, just make sure you get the right size screws for what the job's needed. The last thing you want to do is put a longer screw in and it actually then pierces the outside of the van. So yeah, so just be mindful of what you're actually putting in. I'm putting in slightly different screws on the basis that this is not stepped out as far. And I want to try and use the existing screw holes where possible. But obviously in this case it's only going to be the one. The rest will be new. Rightio, so yeah, I have just tidied these cables up off camera, otherwise that would have done my head in. Obviously a bit of OCD on that, but again, yeah, just snipped a little bit of the length off just so again they go in and make a nice connection, a solid connection. But like I say, don't need to over tighten these, so don't go mad and try and have a full Weetabix effect and break that. Again, just needs a nice pinch up and just be careful on what you're doing, and obviously that's solid in place. So yeah, we will move over to the app and just see if we can actually connect to this and see if it's up and running. But it's like a straightforward thing, should probably take you 10 minutes tops really. Like I say, it's just about making sure that you isolate these, they don't touch, pay attention to plus and negative. Why they've switched these around, I'm not entirely sure. However, they have, and again, what you don't want to do is damage your panels, damage your controller, or damage your battery. So yeah, don't rush it, but it should only take 5–10 minutes tops.
So now the two products are actually installed, obviously you've got the battery and the MPPT controller in place. It'll be obviously now time to be able to configure that. Now Victron app, you just go to the App Store and grab that. When you connect the first time, there'll be a number of updates that you need to do, and there's sort of two modules within the actual Victron unit, so again it may take you sort of 5-10 minutes to actually get that set up and for that to complete, and then you can go in and use the presets within to select the battery that you need. And there is a lithium option in there, and again I'll show you that within the app itself, and again that will have all the sort of config that you need. You don't need to go in there and try and enter any details manually. So again, that's worked for us and all the testing that we've done up to this point. So yeah, quite straightforward on that front. Now in terms of the battery, this model actually comes with its own BMS system. So again, you can actually connect to the battery directly, so you've got two different apps to actually monitor exactly what's happening in there. And again, yeah, both straightforward, and again I'll leave the links to the apps below. But again, you can go in there and just sort of at any point actually see exactly what's happening. And then once you fire it up, like I say, it will connect. It will have a default pin, and like I say, you'll have a number of firmware updates to actually configure before you actually get in to fully manage it. Now for us, it's a case of, yeah, you'll get the option, and again you can be pretty close to the actual device for it to connect. I can connect through sort of the front lounge, which is probably about 3-4 meters away, and still just about connect. If not, obviously you can do that when you're sat in the van. And again, once you go into the configuration, you can go to battery options, and then under presets, again you can go in there and select Smart Lithium, and again that will have everything that you need to be able to manage the battery that you've just put in, without having to sort of try and configure this yourself. And then back to the home screen, it will actually tell you exactly what it's doing in terms of its state, the voltage of the battery. You've got the history of exactly how things have gone. So again, it gives you quite detailed information, and it tracks that over a number of weeks. So obviously it will depend on the lithium battery that you went for, and whether it's got the BMS system built into that. And again, it's good when they have, so just so again you can check the health of the battery itself. And again, the app that we're going to use, again I'll leave in the description below. And again, once you're close enough to it and you've got a Bluetooth connection, again you'll be able to see that as an option to connect to, and this is the screen that will come up certainly around the EcoTree Lithium option. And again, it will tell you exactly the state of play. When it's connected to mains, it will tell you exactly how long's left in terms of that to be fully charged, so it gives you that additional information. I've had this new configuration set up now for a couple of weeks, and with the old sort of lead acid battery, I would have had all the sort of main unit switched off throughout the day. Actually with this, I've had everything plugged in, switched on within the Caravan, and again it's never gone below 100%, even when I've sort of charged batteries and done other things within that whilst I've been tinkering with the van. So on that aspect, it's been sort of flawless at this moment in time. And the way I'm going to test it in a bit more real world scenario is we're away next week, and on that site we're going to actually set it up. So yes, we've paid for electric, but we're actually going to run the van as if we hadn't, and just see exactly, with 6 of us actually here, charging tablets, phones, and all the usual gubbins that would normally come with sort of family life. Can we actually survive the weekend? And what I'll do is I'll show you that on a sort of day-to-day basis of what we're actually doing to actually sort of, yeah, utilize the battery and different things that we're having set up. So again, a bit more of a real-world test to actually say, would this actually work longer term? I appreciate, obviously, being a solar setup, obviously you need some sun. So yeah, we'll see what sort of weather that we get. Majority of our camping is throughout the summer season, so you would hope that that would be the case. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the weather will be doing at that given time. Hopefully we get a bit of a mixture, just so again we can see actually how we get on. But yeah, it will give us an understanding of exactly actually can we survive sort of for a week if we were to go off grid, or was that sort of wishful thinking or not. Rightio, so that's it for this week's video. Hopefully it's given you some answers to some of the questions that you might have had around lithium. Like I say, this setup is not going to be for everybody. This is just the way that we're going about it, so please bear in mind that. And again, hopefully you can join me for next week to see actually how we got on whilst being away. And again, like I say, there are 6 of us in this van, so yeah, seeing if we can actually cope with the demand on the battery, obviously for pumping, for lighting, for supplying the charge to the different devices that we have, or I'll say the kids have, will be an interesting one. So again, whether actually it's been worthwhile in terms of the investment that we've made here. But yeah, hopefully you can join me for next week to find out how we got on. But like I say, that's it for this week, and I will see you all soon. Cheers everybody.